Hello and welcome to the Sweaty, the Farmer and the Give Design, land of the pink, violet, and savage blue cactus. This is episode number 9, the original Prankster. I am the lone name gamer as a Sweaty.
I am Lucho the Farmer. Thanks for joining us on this episode. This week, the mayhem rules our lives.
The mayhem. But before that, let's take a look at this week's news. Protesters are organized for BlizzCon amidst Honk Kong Controversies, politics discussions forbidden on League of Legends wars coverage, and EVE Online players organizing to encourage more war. So, protesters are organized for BlizzCon amidst Honk Kong Controversies. This has been a crazy week.
I guess you should explain
what's happening, what is the
situation,
the craziness and everything. So to give some context to this news, which has been we couldn't avoid it, it's been in every single outlet. What happened is last week on a tournament of Grandmasters Hearthstone, there was a participant, a Chinese participant who won the entire tournament, and in the winner's interview, he said a phrase supporting the Hong Kong protesters. What is happening in Hong Kong, if you don't know, you're living under a rock, and you listen to this podcast as the only contact with real life, is that,
I'm just saying that you and me as a grad student, I kind of know what's happening. So
there you go. So you don't,
and I live under a rock.
And
so.
You never know. You never know. So what happened is, in Hong Kong, Hong Kong used to be a British colony, and they're keeping a lot of those old British kind of laws, and they've been very independent from China. And as you know, China is a communist. It's a communist party ruled country, and they have a lot of censorship all around because their leader is kind of like, as all dictator, is kind of a crazy person. And so Hong Kong has been, as a port, is being kind of like independent from all those crazy censorship rules, right? But now the Chinese government is trying to pass a law in Hong Kong that permits them to extradite citizens from Hong Kong to another part of China, so the rules can apply to them, right? And that's been seen,
Like something has to be said about that, and is that the political climate in Hong Kong with China has always been difficult, for decades. This is not a new thing. This is a conflict that's been dormant for decades now, and it's the Hong Kong people saying, no, we're our own country.
Yeah, we are a kind of independent region.
The Chinese government basically saying, nope, this is China.
Yes.
and it's kind of, it's a really difficult field to walk around for a lot of governments and stuff. No one wants to take a side directly, and no one does actually.
Yeah.
So it's this Hong Kong China conflict is deep and difficult, and we are super underqualified to talk about it.
Not at all. We gotta comment it because it's the news. But beyond that,
just be aware that it's a really complicated conflict with a lot of interest on part and
Good to make your own research, inform yourself well, if you have an opinion on it. Go read stuff about the situation in China, and it's very complex socio-political state. So.
It's a geopolitical, the technical term, clusterfuck.
Yes.
It's a really difficult situation. So
anyway, that's the recent process, because they're trying to pass this law so they can take off citizens, and it's been seen like a huge human rights violation, because inside of China they have concentration camps and a bunch of bad kind of regiment stuff, and it's very bad. Anyways,
it's one of the most repressive nations by all those indices that the UN measures and stuff like that, independent nonprofit organizations like go and measure human rights and all that kind of stuff. And
It's pretty
China
bad.
is never never amongst the nice countries to be in.
Yeah. But the problem is because this is a globalized world, China is a huge market for a lot of video games companies. To the point, right? Of our news.
Mm.
And they have like even Tencent, one of the biggest like game companies in China, has been investing a lot in Western based game companies, and that's creating conflict everywhere. So what happened is in this tournament, they after the comment that the winner of the tournament did about like supporting the protest against this rule, uh, Blizzard took very harsh measures, and it's like very harsh measures. Like they fired the casters for allowing him to do the message, and then they strip him from all the money that he won by winning the tournament, and then they ban him from the tournament for a year. So we're like very extreme measures, and they do like any competition sports around the world. They do have like rules against political speech, right? That's normal.
Yep.
Like that's normal in every broadcast and everything. You don't want to like air your political because again, this globalized world, you are like broadcasting to so many different like religions, political beliefs, and states that you don't want to like that you wanna kind of like remain neutral because of the field that you're working on as an entertainer,
Not,
right?
not only that, but just a smart financial decision is to try to keep neutral, like religious and
Yeah,
politic views, so that you can appeal to the largest market. So
yeah, and it makes sense. It makes sense. And and after that, and this is a clarifying the Chinese base body of rule of Blizzard tournaments, because there is a Chinese base rule tournament organizers and rule and like arbiters and all those sort of stuff based on China, did kind of a post on the Twitter account condemning the actions of these guys as a very strong supporter of China, right?
not only on Twitter, also on this.
On the official, I think it was the other.
No, on the Chinese. There is a Chinese like mini blog site. Oh, how is it
All right,
called?
there is a
Do
Chinese
you know
mini
what I'm
blog
talking
one.
about?
Yes, I know which one I'm talking about.
I forgot the name. WeChat.
Yes, I think it's something like that.
Yeah, I think it's WeChat. It's like a huge social thing in China,
Yep.
and apparently their official presence of Blizzard or their representative in China made some like really strong comments about the whole situation.
Yeah, and then they're like defending the nation's interest in talking about China, right? And this was
Yeah.
seen by the rest of the world of, oh my God, Blizzard is bending the knee to the Chinese government and appealing and like trying to like appeal this China amongst this Hong Kong protesting and all this complex stuff. And it's like, I think that's the reaction. It's like so complicated because as a company, like we are in an increasing global world, right? And the problem of an increasing global world is that we are not a uniform humanity in terms of religion and politics, right? We
Yeah.
even if we are in a globalized world, we are not global. We don't have global countries, which is kind of a conflict of a very evolving, very fast growing globalization markets, right? And that's how I see it. Like I could be speaking on my ass, but that's how I see it, right? It's like we have all these services, tournaments, and things happen in a global scale, but our micro politics are very different still, right? Which has been a weird thing in many countries when you approach a global market, because you have to be careful of all these like different politics and stuff when you are going into a market, right? But my point is like in terms of if you think about cultural evolution, we should reach a point somewhere in the future where our politics kind of like should be similar all around the world, right? Upholding the same human rights, upholding the same values, upholding kind of, right? That should be that should be like the um, the ideal for global
Mm,
entertainment to work. Like if you're gonna
I
share
don't.
a bunch of global
I don't
products,
know.
right?
I don't like to homogenize anything. I like.
It's my opinion. It should be like it shouldn't be like exactly the same everywhere, because there's some regions that or part of the world that requires different types of politics because of their situation. But it should be approaching some sort of like baseline in terms of human rights, in terms of certain things, right? That's what the
I
UN
like
is made for, right? That's the goal of the UN.
not not really. It's not to that. It's just to like to serve as a mediator between the conflicts.
Yeah.
Like there is no way we're gonna reach any kind of homogeneous like mix of people or beliefs or anything.
But that is like for
And that
me.
shouldn't happen. I believe that shouldn't happen. We
You
should
believe that
keep
you
the
shouldn't
diversity.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like it's something that could happen because of the global world that we live in, right?
I don't think it will ever happen.
All right. That so with that in mind, like we are a globally connected world. This kind of conflict is gonna happen at many levels, right? And it finally hit the video game market in a big way, where they say to this company, to Blizzard properly, that you should uphold certain values as a company, right? Even if it
I
keeps you from certain markets.
no
That's the
I
argument of
that's the argument, and yeah, sure, like I can agree with the protesters in Hong Kong and all of that, but
yeah,
what bothers me is that people try to uphold a private company to these moral values, quote unquote.
yeah,
But all the companies do the same thing. All the governments do the same thing. They just don't care. It's a flimsy point of view for people to complain about that. It's just, oh yeah, because Blizzard big, blah blah blah. But if you're really aware of what's going on, like all governments do that. Like they don't like I don't know if you remember when Trump just got elected.
yeah,
He called I don't remember if it was Hong Kong or Tibet or something, or again, it's some of those, like the prime minister in one of these regions in Asia for which China has a lot of interest.
yeah,
And then that made the news because basically the US president calling this prime minister was basically acknowledging the existence of this country
yeah,
or this as an independent region.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It may have been Taiwan or something like that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And like this shootout in the news because it's a super delicate thing for like just for the heads of states just
Okay,
to
yeah,
so what I'm saying is and the governments do it because the governments still do want to make business with China because
yes,
like it or not they're a huge market
yeah. There's a huge
and
market there.
they move a huge amount of money
Yeah,
no matter what you believe like aside for whatever you believe is right or wrong
yeah.
they just move money.
So yeah, so the word
And my problem is not
that's the point of all these protests. Is like they want Blizzard as a
yeah
company to uphold
no
human
but that's where I
rights.
disagree.
Yeah,
That's where I fundamentally disagree with protesting against Blizzard. Why do you care about Blizzard? You should be more concerned about your government, and you should be voicing your concerns more to your elected officials and stuff like that. You know, like if you don't care about that, who are the people who are actually representing you?
yeah.
Eh, eh, eh.
Okay.
A private company, you should uphold people to higher standards like your elected official. That's more important than Blizzard. And people don't care about that because it's not fancy Blizzard making a mistake. It's the US government doing whatever they do. And they've been doing this for decades, like all the governments. They have this flimsy kind of, oh, yeah, we acknowledge that China is not doing the right thing, but we don't say anything because we still want to do business with them for decades
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
UN
yeah.
does the same thing. The
Yes.
European Union does the same thing. So that's what annoys me. Is like people really don't care about the real thing. Because if they did care, they will be concerned about what the government does.
Yeah, well,
Not
exactly. Yeah,
not
there'll be
freaking Blizzard.
there'll be like a lot of there's been a lot of protesting in America about all the different
Yeah,
crazy things
and
about politics
that's all
and
good and fine.
yeah,
All I'm saying is that if you're like if you're gonna uphold Blizzard to its high moral or high political standards,
yeah,
then you should do it as well with your government. Not only like honestly, who cares about Blizzard? Like there are more important. For as much as I like Blizzard,
yeah.
kind of don't care about them. There are more important things in the world, like, and
All
you
right,
should be thinking of that. That's what annoys me, and that's what gets me. It's like,
all right.
come on, that's just hypocrisy on everyone's side.
Anyways, the thing like the thing is like I think the main argument is that Blizzard shouldn't be as harsh with the penalty because they've
Yeah,
been
also
yeah.
that was just a bad move. Like,
Yeah,
they could
exactly.
have
That,
dialed
that
it
that
down
was
a
the
little
problem,
bit and
right?
avoid everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is like they took that. Yes, they should have took action because it's against the rules, but the problem was that their ruling was too harsh, right?
it is the same Diablo Immortal thing.
Yes.
They just did a stupid mistake that overblown because they are freaking Activision
And
Blizzard.
now there's like a bunch to the point of this news. There's like a bunch of groups actually organizing protests for the BlizzCon, so they just ruin another BlizzCon because I guess they're idiots at this point. As a company, I guess somebody is not like says somebody in the PR department is not doing their job correctly or something like that. Like
Also, I mean, it's hard to say because they're a private company and
yeah.
it is in their terms of use. So
Yeah. Yeah, the point
It
is
was-
like the point is this. The point is like the ruling, like the actual appliance. It's like if I go the example is this is if I go into a magic tournament and I break the rules, like for example, I forget to, I don't know, properly check my sleeves, because they're not marked, or I put a fifth copy of a card without noticing or something like that, right? I break the rules inside a tournament, and then the decision of what my point should be is goes to the magic. To the magic arbiter, to whatever judge is around, right? And it's
Yeah.
purely a human decision, right? And it can be as bad as like a warning, and they tell you, all right, change the sleeve, or change that card, or blah, or they can kick me out of the tournament, right?
yeah.
That's the specter of decision, right? So if I did
Yeah, but-
something wrong, like put an extra card, if the judge
but in-
hates me, he's gonna kick me out of the tournament. If the
But
judge
this was
is
not the
mean-
case for this
What?
Blizzard tournament. That was not the case. Like on the rules, like it says whatever thing, the prize money will be go to zero. It is on the rules.
It is. Yes, but that is true that the prize money will go to zero. That's the immediate rating rule. But the banning of the person is not in there, or the firing
Yeah.
of the casters is neither in there. So that's the problem. If they just apply the rule, it's like, oh, he violated this rule. That's it. He shouldn't have blown out this big. The problem is like they ban the dude for a year, and they fire and ban the casters too, right? That was the problem. The problem was like it was too. That was the mistake of Blizzard, not applying the rule properly, but going overboard. Right? That's
I
what
guess.
I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about. The example of the judge. If the judge hates me, he kicks me out of the tournament. If the judge is neutral, he just like issues me a warning and a DQ
Okay.
and like a game loss, right?
Fair
As said
enough.
in the rules, right? Which is the minimum punishment or the correct punishment by the rules, right? That was the problem. That was the mistake of Blizzard did. They
Fair enough. I agree
overblown
with
it.
that.
Yeah, they overblown it, and now they're gonna have protests in another BlizzCon in a row. Maybe it's gonna be kind of controversial. It's gonna be something's gonna happen in the BlizzCon coming in.
But that really annoys me. Like people doing protests against Blizzard and they don't do it for their governments. Like that's so hypocritical. Come on. Like No,
I guess.
it
I
is.
heard that there've been like protests against like multiple things in the American government, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Politics
but
is
not.
complex. That's all I have
Yeah,
to say.
politics is complex. All I'm saying is that each one of us should have a consistent, like, should be consistent to our own set of rules and morals. And if you're gonna put the scream on the sky because Blizzard did this, you
Yeah,
should be doing the same thing all the time
for so many other
for
things.
everything. And all private companies do the same thing, and all of them pander to China.
Yeah.
And all of, like, absolutely all of them. Like, it's not like, do you see that kind of behavior with production, like with movies?
Yeah.
They do things to pander to Chinese audience because it's a freaking ton of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And no one is saying, "Oh no, but they
You
should."
should, yeah.
Oh, you know what I mean? It's that's what I find kind of. Come on, that's not. Like, you're just, like, I just feel like people are jumping in this hate wagon because it's a hot thing and Activision Blizzard is huge, but
That is part of it. That definitely is part of it.
all private companies that do international business do that because,
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure, like, technology companies do it.
Probably. But it was like so clear, so like we're still humans, and even if
Yeah.
that's true, like it was so clear to put like earlier this week, like I think yesterday or past yesterday, they actually backtracking to the correct
Yes,
to the
of
correct
course.
rulement on the rules. For Power Blizzard, they actually like yes, they removed the money, and then they put it like the actual banning for that breaking of rule, which is 6 months, and then they leave the ban in the casters and that sort of stuff. And like they backtrack to the correct rule, man. That, yeah,
that's
I think it was
all I'm
like too
fine.
blunt. I think it's like I think Blizzard just like mishandled this entire thing amidst
Probably.
of a political problem, and they wrong and because they mishandled this, they just face planted straight into a political issue, which nobody wants to as a company.
Probably. I'm pretty sure that
Right?
was the case. All I'm saying is that if you're gonna crucify one private company, you should do it with all of them, and you should be consistent.
Yeah.
You either care about the thing and you care like really about what's going on, or you don't, and you don't jump into a hate wagon. That's all I'm saying. Just don't. That annoys me. It's just people are not aware of the things that are important, and they just.
Yeah, so something's gonna
gets me.
happen at this year BlizzCon, which is in a couple of weeks, which is
It's gonna be fine.
it's gonna be weird. Anyways,
It's gonna be fine.
all right. So for the next docket on our news, on top of that, right for this League of Legends players and commentators from discusses politics on air. Right now, is League of Legends is in the middle of the worst tournament, the biggest tournament of the year for them, and they just double down into remind everybody on the casters, commentator, and players involved in the tournament that they cannot air the political statements on the transmissions in any shape, way, or form, or it will be harsh penalties for them. Because again, because of what my argument at the beginning, they are transmitting for a global audience, and that global audience have different like beliefs and politics and statements. So you shouldn't like bring politics or religious beliefs into tournaments that are being globally consumed or broadcast.
It's not that you shouldn't. It's just that if you're gonna do it, you must be aware that you're gonna be punished.
Yes.
That's all. Like, you're gonna still go to a transmission and have your 5 minutes of fame and face all the consequences. Like,
yes.
like grown-ups.
So Riot just doubled down into this in the middle of the
It's fine.
BlizzCon. So just a reaction. It's just like we want to say face. We're a global company, as Riot, very big global company. Riot is. We are on the middle for biggest tournament. We don't want to ruin for anybody. I think that's the thing, right?
It's not like anyone cares about League of Legends.
Oh, okay. Apparently, a lot of people do.
Who watches that?
You don't. Like, is the highest thinking watch right now in Twitch?
Go Minecraft.
Okay.
League of Legends.
What?
League of Legends.
Yeah, I know that you don't like it.
Yeah, I would rather play Minecraft for the rest of my life.
Okay. I don't like Minecraft, for example.
I don't like it either.
Okay, so
I just hate League of
we don't
Legends
like
more.
some games. That doesn't mean like hate is such a strong word.
It is. I'm passionate about games and I hate it.
All right. You hate League of
It
Legends.
can burn in hell.
All right.
For all I care.
Okay. Moving on to our last docket on the news, different from everything. Evil Light enemies are working together to encourage more war. So, this is a weird news which I find very interesting because EVE Online is a very interesting game. If you ever get into it, it's one of the oldest MMO like online connectivity games, super big because we're talking about space. But to the point of this news, which is a lot of different so there's this system in the game, right? When you pledge alliance of one of the 4 NPCs rule empires, right? So they tell you to go to these like Lone Ranger kind of territories and fight for control over them, right? And inside that, you can run certain different types of quests that you don't need to go to fight in these territories and get kind of the same reward when all these players in these territories are doing fine, right? So the rewards are like kind of like these prestige tokens that they're giving you because of how many territories the faction controls, right? But the only way to control territories is going and fighting in the actual territories, right? But there's some players which takes this NPC which gives them run or like fetch quest, and they get rewarded because of how well the dudes who are fighting for the territories are doing, right? And they exploit this system. The players, they exploit the system so they don't have to fight. They don't have to raise their ships or anything. But they get a huge reward because of the other players doing, right? So what these factions are doing, like these certain players are doing, are blocking this NPC so people actually help them fight in the front lines and don't exploit the NPC run system. That's what they're doing.
That's interesting.
And they're actually organizing to like blockade NPCs, because what happened is like because all these tokens have been claimed, the price of the tokens just plummets. So there is no point for the players to go and conquer territories, right? So what happened is like there's this faction and they do like a rally for conquer territories to grow their faction and make these tokens cost more. And then in comes this wave of players which only do like fetch runs through this NPC, and they plummet and they ruin all the hard work of people who are actually fighting in the territories, right? So the players are organizing to block this NPC and force the players to actually go to the territories and actually properly help the system.
That's okay. That's interesting. I like when people find ways to break the games. So it is interesting that there are players willing to just force people to play the
proper way,
intended way. Not proper. There is no proper way.
There's no proper way to play it. Yeah, the intended way. So
the proper way to play a game is play it however you want.
Yes, that is.
That's the proper way.
Yeah, but it's very interesting that like Evil Light is such an old community in such a big game that this can happen, to the point that the players can organize to stop, to force the community to play certain thing the proper way without any intervention from the actual developers.
I would take part in that kind of thing just because I'm a contrarian.
So you just like don't leave that, like try not. What will you do? What will you do in that situation?
Yeah, I will join the people who are forcing the like basically what was happening is there was this meta thing going on.
Yes.
That basically the meta was not playing the game as intended.
Yes.
So there's an angry mob of people saying no.
Yes, you should play it as intended.
You're gonna play. Exactly. What I'm saying is that those are the contrarians because they just no, you're gonna do it the right way.
So
No, I will join them.
You will join
Just because I'm a contrarian. I don't want people to have fun. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. It'll be pretty fun.
Yeah,
I
so
should
that's
get
what they
into
do. Super
Eve Online.
interesting. Super interesting Eve Online. Like, and this happens, like, there's so many crazy stories of Eve Online, from like crashes of entire empires to a dude, like, to a couple of dudes actually stealing an entire empire, like chips and all.
Yeah.
Like, Evil 9 is a crazy game, man. It's a crazy, insane game.
I should get into that game. I've always been interested.
You'll probably be like super, like imagine, like, you'll probably be super interested because there's endless farming in Evil 9, and there's a bunch of like politics and in ways to play it, and like, yeah, like the game is like, it caters to anything that you want to do in space with all these crazy things.
Maybe I'll give it a try eventually.
Yeah. I tried a long time ago, and I kind of like it, but it was like too daunting for me, as any game of this type it is.
Yeah, that means that it's a good game. If it is not easy, if it requires a lot of work, that's a good game.
Absolutely. All right.
Anything less than that is for filthy casuals.
Okay. All right.
Strong words, strong opinions.
Strong opinions by Lucho.
Yeah.
We're gonna start selling that colony. That cologne, sorry. That cologne. Strong words, strong opinions by Lucho.
Yeah.
It should smell like a punch in your face.
Yeah.
There you go. We have a brand. We have merchandise now.
We should sell t-shirts.
Yeah. All right. That's a docket for this week news.
Yeah.
Woo. All right. Now we go to our deep dive this week. But remember, this discussion here is based on our in-game experience. We are not aiming to be game journalists. We're not aiming to be professional people who investigate stuff and do things. Right? We're just two gamers which have a lot of strong words and strong opinions.
I do.
Buy our colony or cologne, please.
I do.
And that's our disclaimer. Like, if we are wrong in some kind of information, please let us know in the comments or in the feedback. And more times than not, we're kind of like funky in some of the points of facts that we blur out in the podcast, because it's fine. It's an opinion piece. It's not exactly a reporting piece. Anyways.
Yeah, we're just talking out of the love or hate love
of video games. Yeah.
video games.
Absolutely. So deep dive today is we're gonna go into the Borderlands franchise, my friend.
Yeah. Now that Borderlands 3 has been out for
quite a while.
A month now, I think. Almost a month.
Kind of a month. It was on September. It was a week and a half before Shadowkeep, so it was kind of like the third week of September, at the end of the week of September. I will tell you exactly when.
It was September, yeah, exactly a month, September 13th.
September 13th, there you go, yeah. Exactly a month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we want to talk about not only Borderlands 3, but the whole franchise, because they have a pretty similar tone.
Yeah, kind of like,
and
they've been very
they are all
consistent.
telling one story, so I don't know, they've been improving the formula little by little throughout the different games. So
yep.
So we want to talk about the whole franchise instead of just Borderlands 3, although we'll be making emphasis on Borderlands 3 because it's the freshest in our heads right now.
And I think it's one of the it improves in a lot of things too.
It does. I agree.
Yeah. So first, Borderlands 1, 2, and 3 gameplay main story. What is our or experiencing the gameplay main story. It's always fun. It's always a cool ride, right?
If you if you are down with the silliness of the game, yeah,
Yes.
it is a fun ride.
Yeah, clearly the story is like very silly, very light tone, very kind
Yeah,
of teenage humor and like slapstick and violence and Mad
yeah,
Max, but with cartoons.
it's fire jokes, funny humor. It's just super immature, and it's a good change of pace. I like it.
Yeah, it's
Not
charming.
everything has to be
Super
like
serious.
deep and psychological and so many thoughts. No, from time to time I enjoy some slapstick and pretty humor.
Yeah, and that's what interesting of of the Borderlands franchise. I think they embrace that side of them, that silly cartoony side, even with their aesthetics. Right, they go straight to like they've keeping that cell shade aesthetics from the beginning because they want to give that like very light tone humor kind of vibe. Right.
Yeah, I have always liked that comic like aesthetic of the game.
Yeah, the cell shading. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
With like
I
thick
really like
outlines
it.
and that sort
Yeah,
of stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really different. Like that was one of the points that make them like super different of everything that came out. Like it was
when
a
it came out, yeah,
FPS. What? Yeah, it was
yeah,
a
when Borderlands 1 came out, yeah, it was super
yeah.
different.
It was a FPS violent action based, but it was cell shade and everything was laughable and like comic like, and it was super endearing to have all that in the gameplay story. And the story is kind of the same in all the three games. You are a ball hunter, you come to Pandora, and you do stuff to get loot, right? And they even say it in the actual game that you are there for the loot and the
Yeah, I
rewards.
think so, one of the things that I like is that the gameplay has like not the gameplay, but like the story
Yeah.
has like a meta like cycle that it's
Yes, very
all
self-aware.
really you throughout all the campaigns just find vault keys, get to a vault, kill the monster,
And then get the loot.
and rinse and repeat that for God knows how many vaults
Yeah.
now. But there is like this meta story that's been told throughout the games out the world and you can like if you pay attention you pick on those things and you
Yeah.
have an idea of what's going on in the world.
Yeah, and why this vault exists and why is what I'm doing. Like you can take it at as deep as you want. I think that's the interesting offer.
Yeah.
You can take it as deep as you want. You can be like even
It's like
there's
Shrek.
yeah, even there are
It
very
has layers.
yeah, it has layers. It's an onion.
It's an onion.
So you can take it as deep as you want, and they're very self-aware of what they're doing. Like
Yeah.
they talk to you as a ball hunter. They talk to you like in terms of gameplay systems. Sometimes you can loot, or you can check your weapons here, or you just want the rewards. And like they kind of treat you like very self-aware that you're like a player in this world, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which makes it very endearing, very lighthearted. But they're actually like trying to tell you this story, and they leave some questions here and there if you kind of pay attention to what you're doing. But you can like take a Borderlands game and just go shoot dudes and have a ton of fun
Yeah.
in the mission and not pay much attention and laugh at the silly jokes and whatever.
But if you do, you can enjoy a fairly interesting world. Like we were talking about this yesterday, and there is a video out there in YouTube somewhere, like it's almost 2 hours long,
Yeah.
telling all the story in Borderlands.
Yes.
And like if you pay attention to it, it's telling a pretty interesting story. Like
Yeah.
it's nothing like super deep about like human emotion and stuff, but it's nonetheless an interesting world to live in, to invest it in.
Yeah. It's like all the mystery, which I think they clarified a bunch of things. They make it so much clearer in the third game than in the other games. Like in the other
Yeah.
games, we're like much more vague about how this war properly work, right? Like they're like, oh yeah, there's these vaults that you can just open with this magic thingy, and then there's a monster inside, but there's a bunch of loot and cool technology behind it. And that was like the first game premise. It's just like, oh, we have this war and there is a treasure buried somewhere here in Pandora. Come here and get the treasure. Yeah. Right? It's such
but
like
it was a monster.
Oh!
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for the Borderlands 1.
Yeah, I know.
So and it was like super life premise in the first one. Oh yeah, there's like, but then they tell you that there's like, but then if you pay attention, you realize that in this world, there's no governments, but they're like these huge mega corporations.
Yeah.
Which rules various parts of the universe, and they actually appropriate planets.
Yeah, they rule whole planets. Yeah.
Yeah, and they are only there for the profit of the planets, and that's the tragedy of Pandora. And they tell you this in the first game, right?
Yeah.
That's the tragedy of Pandora. They came to this planet because there's supposed to be riches in there.
They were mining iridium.
Yeah.
And when I think part of the story that they were doing like they arrived during the winter of Pandora,
Yes.
and when the summer came or something like that, like all the creatures woke up.
Yes.
And the creature were basically killing everything.
Yes.
So
it was like
just left,
not
or
profitable.
Atlas? I don't remember. Yeah, like
not profitable
Every-
aboard. Like no, a bunch. There was like 3 or 4 companies that did
there
exactly
were like
the same
a
thing.
couple. Yeah, and I was like, oh no, F this shit. We're out of here.
so
Good
yeah,
luck.
that's the start of the first game. It's supposed to be like Pandora has this weird, like very long winter cycle, and then a very long like summer cycle. It's like was like 10 years of winter that it was
Yeah,
like
it's something like that.
something long like that. And he was like, it is space, so anything can happen. We are not here to argue if it's possible or not.
Maybe.
Yeah. So the original thing is like Pandora was in a winter state when the companies come and they discover iridium, which was a metal that was only found in this planet, and it was like it has like very interesting properties. It was very new.
Powers.
Magic. Magic, yeah. So all these companies rush to Pandora, and they make it, and they try to do mining operations, right? So if you want to do a mining operation, you need like very cheap and a lot of labor, and then a lot of people to mine stuff, move stuff, and blah blah blah. So they took like they bought like entire ships of prisoners and random scientists, and they send them to mine because prisoners are like that's a very 60s 70s kind of notions, when like back into the day some of the prisoners were forced to labor in the American prisoners to go to camps and mine actually, and they were like these prison camps when they put you to
it's
work.
a very Wild West setting kind of
it's
thing.
a very, very Wild West. This was done in the Wild West because back in the day there was like in the Wild West there was not government that could support prisons, so they took the prisoners and made them work so they could pay for the imprisonment, which makes so much sense. So all these companies came in, and then Pandora unfroze into his summer cycle, and then it was like, and it's because of the iridium, like this, like you discover this if you check out the lore, right? The way, because Pandora is such a wild place because iridium, the same mineral that you're mining, actually makes mutations and causes the fauna to go wild and that sort of stuff. So everything in Pandora is super dangerous in terms of fauna and flora because of the iridium, right? Because of the same thing that you're chasing, right? So that was kind of the story of the first 2 games, right?
That's the overarching
overarching story. There is a good mineral. Let's go mining. Blah blah blah. In Borderlands 2, it was and then they discovered a vault. When you go to Pandora, there's supposed to be a vault of riches, because that's the way they attract people to go keep working in Pandora. And bringing iridium. They say, oh, it's a great place. There is riches somewhere, but it's a very dangerous place, so the most dangerous people go there. And they abandoned a bunch of people in the planet. It was hilarious because when it becomes too expensive for the corporations to protect their mining camps, They just said, "Fuck it."
Oh yeah, they just abandon all the workers, and they are the ones that became like the bandits and like psychos
Psychos
and
and all these sort of like very
yeah,
wild west, very Mad Maxy kind of
medieval
societies.
Maxim.
Yeah, of abandoned people who just band up and like because Pandora is technically still a very rich planet in terms of resources.
Yeah,
This band strives into like stealing people. Like there's still people who goes to mine and who goes to sell riches in Pandora. Like it's a very cool setting for the games to be in. And in the second one, we got one of the best like villains in game history with Handsome Jack. You
yeah,
know the story of Handsome Jack. He was a very interesting villain, very cool looking. His motivation was very particular, and he wanted to fight to harness the power of the vaults because he witnessed like the first vault opening, and it was like a bunch of riches and high technologies hiding inside the vault. So he wanted to like supposedly he wanted to control the power of the vaults, but at the end he was in search of vengeance against Pandora because of a tragedy that happened in his past. Super interesting. But
yeah.
on the surface, he's just like a bad guy who wants to make money.
That's the initial premise of
Yeah,
the game, and you start discovering his
yeah,
real motivations throughout the game and throughout some of the not the spin of the other game, the pre-sequel.
the pre-sequels. Yeah, we see a more like fleshed out story of the bad guy, the bad guy character, which was super interesting in the second game. Second game is the same. You go to a wild ride in Pandora and like go and discover and try to steal trains and like various settings and just shoot bad guys, and you have a very good time. But the story, if you pay attention, is a very tragic story about this guy who's just want to pay revenge for his daughter, and he's in the loss of her wife, and he just went crazy in the process.
Yeah, basically he just went crazy.
Yeah, very tragic. And then we arrive at Borderlands 3, where they kind of show us the real thing about the war and the importance of the vaults, because at the end of the second one they show us that there's not only vaults in Pandora, but there is vaults everywhere everywhere on the galaxy.
And we get to on the third one we get to is it bolts in different planets.
in different planets ruled by different companies and families, which is very interesting. And open
Yeah, I like
different
that a
vaults.
lot.
Yeah, that was very cool. The change of the scenery and discover these vaults in different planets. They were very different from one another.
That we're talking about that, and that's one of the things that really helps this game keep it kind of fresh. Just that just that we get to jump from environment to environment. It's not all Pandora looking.
Yeah, because in the first two it was fun, but you get to a point when you don't want to look at at desert anymore.
Yeah, it gets kind of old pretty fast.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. They have some changes of environment. You start in a frozen area in the second one. You have some
Yeah, but
dungeons of
it's
different flora, but at the end you end up always in this desert-like sandbox, right?
it's nothing major. Like in the third one, we get to go to a city planet, a planet
Yes.
city, which is it's probably my favorite there in the
Yeah,
game.
it is the biggest change of the game. There hasn't been a city planet in all the other parts.
Although
of the
I also really like Eden 6, like
The
this
swamp?
jungle kind of thing. Yeah, the swampy.
The swampy planet, yeah, it's
Jungly.
very fun. The swampy planet, full of monkeys and weird things. Like that's very cool. And dinosaurs. That was the best part.
The dinosaurs were really cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
when we
the
found it, was like,
dinosaurs.
ooh.
Died what?
Na-na-na-na-na-na.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da. And then Ice-T talk to you, and you're like, "Oh my God, it's Ice-T."
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
No, but like, yeah, the city planet is my favorite so far, probably.
Cool.
I really like that. I thought it was not possible for Borderlands to like an urban city cyberpunk kind of environment.
Yeah.
But it really suits the game. It's pretty fun.
Yeah,
I
but
really
it
like
makes sense. It
that
makes
area.
sense. And even amidst the war that the city is, it's like it gives you that That's very Blade Runner suburban like feel to go and visit that planet. Very cyberpunky.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
good in terms of environment. And we, in terms of history, they make you travel all these planets and explain what is the this third franchise is the one that focuses more on the deeper lore that the game has been
Yeah.
presenting you,
They,
right?
they were definitely trying to like bring together a lot of the questions and trying to tie all the story into one last arc.
Yes.
It definitely felt that way.
Yeah, because all these questions were like the myriad of questions that they get thrown to you through the first two games. You're like, oh, where the valves come from? What there is monsters inside? Where is all this like very high technology riches there? What is the point of iridium? Right? All these questions kept lingering into the first and the second games.
And they tried to answer a lot of them
Yeah.
in the
So
third one. Yeah.
and then spoilers again. Spoilers. You haven't played the third franchise or any of the franchise.
Yeah.
They end up like explaining, oh, the vaults are connected by the people who built it, which were the Iridium people, but uh, uh, they got extinct because they trapped the Destroyer of War, which is this crazy entity, which wants to do anything to devour the universe, right? And
Yeah.
the Iridium, being this super advanced, old, very old civilization, figure a way to contain him inside of a place, right? And that place is Pandora. And the way that is contained is because Pandora is this very particular war in the system where it has the most concentration of iridium of all the planets around the galaxy, right?
Yep.
And it was the only way to contain the Destroyer of Wars, which is like interdimensional super ED machine war thingy. It's like
Cthulhu.
Galactus. Cthulhu, yeah, there you go.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah, basically. So they connected a bunch of vaults and sacrificed themselves to contain Cthulhu,
Yeah.
basically. And
That's the gist of it.
that's the gist. They even went to the point of explaining why the monsters exist inside the vaults, because they are the actual power of the vaults, apparently.
Yeah.
Nor the loots of the relics inside the vault, but the actual monster is the culmination
the power of the
because they're supposed to be defenders, so they're like biological made monsters that defend the knowledge that leads to the destroyer. I think that was the intentionality of that part of the lore, right? Yeah, because all the vaults are interconnected and the knowledge is there, so they can they don't want to awake the destroyer of wars because it will eat everything.
Yeah, they don't want anyone to open all the vaults and let loose the destroyer.
Yeah. So this Borderlands 3 is one of the most involved in terms of lore, that they were showing you the deep lore of the world. But even so, you can pay no attention to it and have a lot of fun and just go and kill things everywhere.
I agree.
And laugh at the silly jokes.
But if you are an old fan of the franchise and you're aware of the lore of the other games, I think you get an extra enjoyment out of the third one.
Yeah. But I think my point is playing the main story of Borderlands is always fun. It's always a cool ride, right?
It was really, yeah. How long did it took for us to beat this one?
This one? In the sessions? Let me think about it, right? We did 3 sessions in a row, and we got to half the story. We got to the beginning of the Swan Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah? And then after the Swan Planet, we did a bunch of other sessions, other 5 or 6, and then we got to the end. Think about it. We got in those 2 weeks, and we playing almost every day of the week.
Yeah.
13, blah, blah, blah. It took us it took us 2 weeks to finish the entire campaign. With sessions between 5 or 6 hours.
Maybe, yeah. Well, that's a good run.
Yeah, it's a good run. Remember, we finished the proper level up. We finished the campaign on the 25, 24.
Yeah. Maybe.
And then we finished the level up grind around the 31.
Yeah, it's a good 60 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
If you only care about like doing the quest and the
If
side
you
quests,
care, yeah, if you only care about doing the main quest, it's like 30 hours of gameplay, something like that, 32 hours of gameplay, around that point. Like all summed up, right?
yeah,
Yeah, even if we're like we took a detour, we did some side quest. Like even when I did my run with Mouse, which I did just main quest, it took me around like 20 hours of gameplay, a little bit more than that, 25 hours, just doing running through trying to run through the main quest.
yeah.
So it's a lot. It is a plentiful main quest.
It is a good chunk of content,
Yeah,
and if you add up all
all
the
the
side missions,
stuff.
yeah.
So
So,
let's talk about the side quest in this game, man. This is the game that we will point out when we tell to the other games how to make side quests.
yeah, how to make like small characters interesting. Yes.
Yeah, how to make proper side quest, how to deliver good quest, how to have fun, how to flesh out your word, like, and this
Yeah.
been repeated in a lot of reviews. Like the best part, like to the point that some reviewers said, like, oh, the side quests in this game are actually better than the main quest. Some of the side quests are more fun than the main quest, but like the side quests are very cool in this game, right?
They're
Are
very entertaining.
very entertaining. You get to do weird things. You get to like actually experience, like, kind of like realize how the people of these worlds like actually live in these
Yeah,
worlds.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
like
quick question: which is which are your top? I don't know, 3 side quests that you remember the most.
the top three cycles that I remember the most of this game, I think the witches one. The one that you go to the witch's house and brew the thing in the cauldron.
Okay, yeah, that one's so funny.
Super
Yeah.
The one of the coffee and the burger.
The coffee
The
was
coffee one is excellent and such a good commentary into
Yeah,
all the hipster culture.
yeah.
And there was another one which I found really really fun. I think found really endearing the one when you help Ava with his diary. But
Okay,
like people generally hate that character. But I found the
I
side quest.
hate her.
Yeah, a lot of people hate Eva. But I find it really endearing about all this like teenage drama in that sense, right? Because it was a
Yeah.
teenage drama. Oh no, they're reading my diary. Go kill them because my secrets and like, and it's very funny because she has like this very tragic backstory, but take it as a joke. And she says that she's talking about boys and like very teenage drama stuff. I think those
Yeah.
are my three favorite side quests from
Nice.
this game. Yeah. What do you say? Yours?
Yeah, there is one where Mordecai is attending like a little girl's birthday party,
Yeah.
but the girl is like the girl died in something like in some attack of some enemies.
Yeah.
But the father is still like throwing the party, and he makes you participate in 3 different events, and it always gives you the option to, and he gives you a record for the events that his daughter had,
Yeah.
and you always have the option to either break the record or just or done, or just say,
Go
oh
keep
no,
the
I'm too
records
tired,
in the
I'm too
memory.
full.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's super like, it's not, I like it because it's different. It's just not
Yeah.
just killing stuff. Like you just go to this place and you these 3 little random events.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Super weird. Yeah.
And Mordecai, so it's also and it's telling you all the time, like, dude, don't be a dick.
Don't
Don't
be a-
break the girl records. Let him have that.
Your dad is dead. Have a heart.
Yeah. I like that one. It's just different.
Yeah.
I also like there is one guy in Eden 6 who likes to do a lot of extreme stuff,
Yeah.
and like you go with him, like he's doing just these extreme challenges and he dies all the time, and you have to keep reviving him. And the last one is like there's a platform just right before the town,
Yeah.
and you have to put some rockets or some
Yeah,
fuel,
yeah,
some
yeah, yeah,
barrel,
yeah, yeah.
something,
And it was
and he
the
gets
weird. Yeah, I
shot into
remember this
space.
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You shoot him to space. The weirdest thing ever. And it's like,
It's like,
and to the
what?
point, like there is no other use for this platform. It's super obvious when you pass there by the
Yeah.
world. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, you cannot interact with the platform any other way. I like that one because it was just like, yeah, all trackless and shit. It was fun.
Oh my god! And like,
The other one is the one, it's super simple. The one where you are building a cake to
yeah, the
some
bandit
explosive.
cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bandit cake. That's excellent, man.
It's just so silly. Like, it's
Yeah.
nothing serious. It's just so
And they just
freaking
like
silly.
celebrating the birthday for this like bandit lord,
Yeah.
which is a super good person apparently for the bandits. You're throwing a party. Yeah, it's very good. And this is why like everybody should learn about these side quests. Like to the point of like put things in the world that you only can do through side quests that has nothing
Yeah.
like dramatic or anything. but through this exposition to these side things that happen in
Yeah.
the world, it makes your world like so much valuable, so much
Yeah,
like
it does.
alive, so much deep, because you have these random interactions. Interesting.
And not only that, but like you realize that these side quests are interesting when you remember them. Like if
Yes.
because in a lot of these other games, like sometimes we are not even sure that they have side quests or that
Yes.
or what did we do on those, like.
Yeah.
But in these ones, you kind of remember,
Yes. 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 They're memorable experiences, small experiences,
and
because
that's
there's
that's what's important.
Yeah, that is what important. That you remember this like very small, like the devil is in the details, man. Like when you
Yeah.
remember these like small experiences that flesh out the world, that make sense inside the world that they build, and that makes sense that these people operate as they operate, and like it becomes all these like like crazy stuff and interesting things about the most silly stuff, like about a teenager who lost his diary, super reliable. About
You know which
yeah.
small detail I really enjoy? You remember the side quest where one participates in this like contest with Bog that he has some
Oh yeah, that he has a
that he's
crush
from,
into
yeah.
into the hostess of the
Yeah. but what I like about that one is that after you finish that quest,
yeah,
like the hostess of the thing
yeah, of the
is
game
always
show.
on his house, and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I like that detail. It's like, oh, that's
She
cute.
actually went to a
Yeah.
date with him.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, oh, that's cute.
It's super cute, super little small details. Like it makes you feel like what you do, even in a
Matter.
side mission. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the world, it actually matters. Makes a change, makes an impact into the game more.
It's the smallest thing. It really doesn't matter. It is of no consequence whatsoever. But man, just the fact that they just took the effort of putting
Yeah,
the character in our place,
yeah.
so it makes sense with the story.
Yeah, it makes all the difference, right?
Yeah,
And it's
it does.
because some of these like games forget that you as a player, for you to give you enjoyment and agency, you have to have impact not only in the macro sense but in the micro sense, right?
Yeah,
That's why sometimes in all of this game it feels really rewarding to like put the creations in a small place because you make it yours, so you make an impact in the
Yep.
micro sense, right? To make a small change to the world, to the side characters, make them better, make them more equipped, give them something that they look for, because you're making changes in the micro sense and then you go to the main story and make changes on the macro sense, right? And they give you
Yep.
urgency both ways. That's one thing that Destiny 2 and other games forget, right? They give you this
Yeah.
sense of macro, right? Like you make this big change and you did this quest and then things change in the microwave, but they don't give you any change on the microwave in the small things of the everyday life.
Those little details that matter.
Yeah, and those matter. Like those
They
matter.
do matter.
Make you feel that if you're this savior of the world or superpower or whatever you want to picture on your game, you have to have impact in all, like in all the levels, not only in the super macro level, but it really, like, I'm not saying that it's not important for the player to make to do impact in that level, but I'm saying that it's very much important that they do changes in the macro sense, in the small things, in the little details, because it make you feel more present into the
Yeah,
world.
I know. I agree. It's just like, man, like those small details we notice. Like we.
Yeah, yeah, we do. We do. It's not important. We notice in those small details, and it's endearing. It's so endearing.
It
It's
is.
like a way that the game tells you, like, I'm actually paying attention of what you are doing, right? Not
Yeah.
only what the story is doing for you, but what you are doing, right?
Yeah. I completely agree. I really like all the side quests. They're super fun.
Yeah, so good. Like, very well structured. Their words are very cool too. Like, they give you either like a cool story or anecdote to talk about, or at the end they give you like
Yeah.
a unique weapon, or a unique grenade, or a unique like armor. Sometimes legendary, sometimes not necessarily a legendary. But they're all worth doing. That's my point. I think they're all worth doing because you discover a piece of the world that you don't know. Like, the majority of side quests, easy side quests in Borderlands, are go and hunt this guy or this monster, right?
Yeah. That's most of them are just go and kill thing or go grab a thing and
Yeah,
bring
but
it back in.
but the interesting thing is, like, these bosses and monsters are very unique all the time, right? They're not too
They are.
similar to one another. It's either like this monster with this in a weird place with a weird mechanic, or like he's very big, or he's very small, or he's surrounded by very monsters, or like if he's a bandit, he has like this quirk, or like this unique thing. That's what I mean. Like, there's like a lot of attention to details to make it, even if they're side quests and they're like kind of the same, go this place and kill this stuff, they make it like
Yeah.
through the details and the difference between them and the interactions and the spices of the word, it makes it like feel very unique each time you do one, right?
I agree.
So yeah, you don't have to like go and do these crazy things for side quests. You just need to have cool details inside them that actually
Yeah, they,
works
they,
in your
they don't
lore.
have to be crazy. They have to flesh out your characters and
Yes,
your
your car.
NPCs
Yes, in the
and the
world
world.
they live in, and the way that the people in the world they live in function. And that's our
That's
point. That's our point.
that's the main thing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. So Psychos and Mine are great. Now, Vault Hunters, all the classes in the games. We've always been having like this kind of a structure in the Borderlands game, which we have like the gunner type, the mechanic kind of type, and
Yep.
then the mage kind of type. Kind of that's the, and then variation over that, right? So in the first one, we
Yep.
have Lilith as the siren, then we have the commander as the gunner, and then we have
Yep.
the brick, which is the guy of the muscle, as the kind of berserker like, kind of like a melee type kind of dude, and then we have Mordecai as the sneaky dude, right?
Yeah, the sniper. Yeah, sneaky.
Yeah, kind of a sneaky sniper dude. That's on the first game, right? So we have our mage, which is Lilith. We have our technician slash soldier, which is the
Yeah, the
commander
soldier
of the
guy.
Grim Crisis, yeah. Then we have our
Yeah.
or berserker slash gunner, which is Brick, and then we have
Yep.
our sneaky sniper
Yeah, I like
type thing.
the long range guy.
Dude, yeah, which is Mordecai. And then in the
Yep.
second one we had I don't remember his name,
Maya, which is the siren.
which is the Siren Maya, which is the mage
Axton
siren.
is the soldier guy with the
Yeah,
turret.
with the turret, which is the mechanical kind of guy. Then we
Yeah,
have
Zero
the Zero as the
is
sneaky, which is a
the
ninja
sneaky
sneaky
sniper
sniper kind of thing.
assassin.
And what was the name of the guns? I play as that guy,
Uh,
the gunsbreaker guy, the very muscular dude.
Salvador.
Salvador. There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you have Salvador as the other big brawny brown
Yeah.
dude, right? And it's like very archetypal. And then in this third, they try to break the mold very distinctly. I would say, of that archetype that being followed into the games, which is Now the soldier strong guy is Mose, which is a small kind of like very frame like very tiny girl with a big bear mech,
Yeah, but
right?
she's still kind of the like mechanical, technical.
Mechanical soldier. No, she's like the soldier guy, like the brawn,
Is
like the
she
more.
like the soldier
The thing
guy?
is, like they break a lot of the conventions, but
Because
try to
yeah, no,
feel
no, I
it.
know, but like I would argue that Sane feels more
I argue that
soldier
Sane
like to
feels
me.
more like the tech guy because he has two abilities that
Mm,
he can use at the same time.
yeah, but
He has
it still
a
doesn't
turret and
feel.
the digital and the shield. He's like more of the mechanical kind of like soldier guy.
Maybe, but it doesn't feel like that to me. I don't know. I don't know. Like,
I think they did such a good job of blurring all those lines,
yeah, that's fair.
which is super good. Like the fact that we're struggling to define them in the old classes is great, right? The fact that they have like the fact that they kind of blur those archetypes and is fantastic. So we have Mose, which is the soldier, which have Sane, which is the uh, um, spy. They put as a spy dude, but meh.
I don't. It doesn't feel like that to
Yeah,
me.
he has a bunch of gadgets. He has a clone of himself which can distract. He has like a shield, and he has like a small turret that flies and shoots you. And then we have our siren of the bunch, which is Amara, which is very different side because she's not only like a classic mage caster, but she can like one of the interesting part is like she can be the brawn, so she can go and kill people with melee
Yeah,
and punch them in the face and like use his ability only to be very aggressive, very in your face. But she can use their abilities for range too, with the elemental thing and the control, like the crowd control abilities that she had. So you have like this big flexibility in the points, and then you have Flack, which is the very cool, sneaky guy, which is the biggest of all the ball hunters, which is like a tower of a robot to be exact. Which
I wouldn't call Flack the sneaky guy,
he technically disappears and likes
but
snipers.
that's only one of his
Yes,
traits.
I know. That's my point. That they blur these lines so much that we are not sure where in terms of archetype they fall because he has a pet and he can be too that brown guy which goes in their face and like fights with the pet side by side. And he has like a kind of elemental build with the other three. So I think they did a very good job of blurring the lines of what archetype they're placed. All these bot hunters are played exactly
Yeah.
on, which is fantastic, right? Which is I think this is the best roster of ball hunters we've been had so far.
Mm, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And now what do you hate
Yeah.
sirens? tell
It's
me
I.
tell me your
It's for
conflict.
lore. It's not a conflict. It's for lore reasons. Like I never played Sirens on the previous games,
Yeah.
and all the story kind of revolves around Sirens.
Yes. Yes.
And like a spoiler alert, they kill Maya in this game, and
Yeah.
they
Depower
Lilith end up
Lilith.
sacrificing at
Yeah.
the end of the game,
She
and
ends
like
up
they
being
play it
like
out
the
like it's super important, and I'm sitting down like I don't give a freak about this. I will shoot them in the face. I don't care. Like I don't care about Sirens. I never played Sirens before, so
yeah.
yeah, Maya dead. Okay, cool, good for her. I don't know.
So you have a problem with the character or the classes? What is your actual
Not the
problem with it?
classes. The classes are fine.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. You have a problem with
it's
the
just that
characters.
it's the characters, and it's they push them to the forefront so hard that now I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna play them ever again.
Oh,
I'm never gonna
okay.
play a siren in the game because
Never.
they just push it into my face.
But Maya is so fun. And like for me, it's very funny because on all three games, I always like to play the siren. I always like to play the caster dude. Even if I didn't like the siren in Borderlands 2 because their powers seems like super main, at least for me, of what I want to do. But I really like Maya as a character, the new siren. no Maya. What is her name?
Amara.
Amara as a character.
I don't
She's
know.
a very
She
cool game.
seems to plain for me in the new game because, yeah, and she's tough.
Don't get me wrong. The most
Good for
interesting ball
her.
hunter of this game is definitely Flag.
Oh, it's by far.
His voice lines are amazing. His backstory is like the craziest thing ever. He's just
Even with no backstory, just the way that he
Have
interacts
you-
with everything makes it fun.
yeah. Have you heard the cassette that you find in Sanctuary? I feel I found that like super cool. Like yeah, hello Mr. Servitor. Yeah, now I'm self-aware. I'm gonna kill you when I brought you tea. It's super cool the way that he's shaped as a character, and he's like a big weird question that Borderlands poses to you as Flag. Like, oh, you have suddenly a sentient robot, right? Like
Yeah.
Claptrap, which Claptrap is technically a sentient robot, but nobody bats an eye about it. It just happens, right?
Yeah, but I mean, Flag was the same thing. Like, no one really questioned it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Okay,
That's my point.
cool. I really
is-
like Flag. It's the only thing that makes me sad about Flag is that there's no viable pet build. That's just a shame.
They're working on it. They're still patching.
They're working on it, but like for example, it would be super cool if the ultimate on the pet tree,
yeah,
instead of being that, like, you know what it is right now, no? That you hit with melee and you gain control over that enemy.
yeah, the charm thing.
Which
yeah.
I think is it's fun to troll around, but it's
Yeah.
not really good.
It's super distracting. I think Lucho has been trolling me so much with that ability randomly out of his control. Because like I
Yeah, but-
should an ability or I should like this ultimate or something like that, and he suddenly takes control of it and becomes immune. Like, oh my god, he wasted my cooldown.
But aside from that being fun when you're the one who's playing it,
Yeah.
like it should be something like, oh, now you can have 2 pets.
Yeah, that would be super cool
Or
if that's
something.
a Beastmaster. Or like, yeah, you can have now 2 pets. That would be fantastic. And it'd be so good, man. It'd be so much good with what.
Maybe you have to dial it down, and the second pet is not as strong, or
Yeah, or something like that.
whatever thing
or
for
maybe
balance.
you can. I love the thing that when you activate your pet, it grows a little bit in size.
Yeah,
Imagine if you can like grow it like much better in size and have like a ginormous like beast pet going around in the field, like just causing trouble or like something like that.
you know that I really like pet builds in this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because the hunter was my favorite character in World of Warcraft. So
Yeah. And you play a lot of.
I really like.
A lot of Witch Doctor in Diablo 3 is your favorite class.
Yeah, Witch Doctor, Necromancer. I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
like in Diablo 2 the Druid.
Yeah, the Druid, yeah.
So I like all these pet builds.
Yeah.
Also, I like animals in general.
Yeah, all right.
I like
cool.
pet builds.
Yeah.
But like the pet tree for Flag doesn't feel that Beastmaster. Like I want more pets with me. I want 2 doggos. I don't know.
2 doggos.
I don't know. That's
If you're gonna put
I really like
Beastmaster,
him.
yeah, it was like when
It's underwhelming.
when I saw
trailer?
the trailers and things for Flag, I thought that at some point you will have the ability to have more than 1 pet.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It would have been super cool.
Yeah, well, it's super cool to have like the doggo and the spiderling thingy. That would be super cool.
Yeah, or the doggo
And the
like
monkey.
on their face, and the monkey shooting from behind.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
something like that. It would have been so much fun.
Yeah.
But okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I know. Yeah, as I was saying, my complaint with the sirens is that they push them. Like my real problem is that they push them too hard in my face,
Yeah.
and now I don't want to play like them because it's like
And now there's
because
such
I'm a contrarian, and yeah,
and now there's such a like central part of the
Definitely.
story. Like they
They've
made it such a
always been.
central part of the story, right?
they have always been like one of the main villains in the first game was a siren. So
Yeah, it was Angel, which was being controlled by Jack. Yeah.
No, on the first one it was an angel.
Yeah, it was the lady commander.
Yeah, the lady commander of the Red Crimson
the Red
something
Crimson,
something thing.
Yeah, she was a siren. Yeah, true.
Yeah, so they've always been like central parts of the
central characters.
And it's like they keep pushing it at like these super powerful things. Like, no, I don't care. I don't want to play. And if the game is doing something for me to say, I don't want to play like that character because fuck it, then
okay, but
something is wrong
bear
for
in
me.
mind that Lucho is very anti-meta and anti-thing, so maybe it's his inside Lucho talking to him.
No, but I mean, what are the meta builds right now in the game? Is the flag fade away the most grenade?
Yeah.
The Saint Cryo one of the most powerful.
Which one?
The Saint Cryo build.
Yeah, the Saint Cryo build. Yeah, for the CC. And Amara doesn't have one. Amara has like 3.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. But it's not that I'm anti-meta. It's like, for most, I'm doing a grenade build.
Yeah. All right,
For flag, I'm not doing the fade away build because I still want to play with pets. So.
Yeah. Which is the main thing. Yeah.
And I'm playing solo, like slowly going solo through a campaign with
Sane?
With Sane.
Yeah.
And I'm aiming for a cryo build. It's like if I find it fun, it's just that in a lot of these games the meta builds are not fun for me. There's not.
Oh, okay, I get you. Now I get you. So you don't hate meta because it's the meta. You sometimes hate meta because it's boring, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's not what I enjoy. I have mentioned this before. Is that in the Division 2, I was the build that I did was just by accident, was just an AR.
Yeah.
DT
and ended up
build.
like the super meta build, and I missed out. It was super sad.
Ended up being the meta, and I ended up playing the meta build, not because it was the meta build, it was because that's the thing that I find funny, that I could just shoot a laser.
Yeah.
And that's why I did it.
Yeah.
Not because it's meta. So if the thing that I kind of enjoy is the meta thing, I will do it. If not, fuck it. Like, I'll just play whatever I want.
So yeah, the difference between us is approach.
Yeah, I'll just play what I want to play. If it ends up being good, yeah, good for me. If not, fuck it. I want.
Fair enough. So yeah, but yeah,
and I was thinking about Destiny.
Yeah.
And I figured out that I cannot find anything that I find fun to pursue.
Wow. Okay, that's a big problem.
Yeah, so that's why I don't enjoy the game that much. It's kind of like there is no pet build for me. Like, it's not that they need pets, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just that there is no thing in the game that I've found enjoyable so far.
Yeah.
Like, let's say in the Division 2, I enjoy going around with a laser pointer, shooting people in the face.
Yeah.
I find that fun in that game. Good enough.
Yeah.
I'll play that.
Yeah.
I like my pet builds in a lot of games. So Borderlands 3, I'm going to run around with my doggo. And in Diablo, I'm going to run around with my witch doctor and a bunch of doggos and a gargantuan. Yes, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I haven't found the thing in Destiny 2. I was thinking about that these days. I was like, there is nothing that sounds super interesting.
Nothing that resonates with you. That's the thing. Right?
Yeah. So, and I know there are things like you're trying to your infinite grenade melee stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's not the kind of thing that I like. So, yeah.
I wonder if it's for lack of like exploration of these systems, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure at this point.
It may be, but for example, like, it's just that the basic thing is not appealing. Like, I didn't know that the pet build in Flag was gonna be just trash, which it is right now.
Yeah,
they're trying to make it better, but it's still trash. Like, you cannot clear Troll Hunter mode Mayhem 3 with ease.
Yeah.
So it can do it, but it's just the fact that I have a pet. That's enough for me, and they show it to you early enough so that I can say, "Oh, that's the thing that I care."
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's the thing that I'm gonna latch onto and say, "Okay, this is my thing."
All right, this will take me.
Yeah, exactly.
This will
That's the
take me
thing that I like.
place. So you don't find
And
anything early on Destiny 2 which you can like
not
actually
so
latch
far.
onto.
And
That's
yeah,
the thing, right? Okay.
and it wasn't there like well we play the campaign and we have farmed together power level like there is at least on the Titan, which is the character that I have played the most
Yeah.
because I have only played one a lot, which is the
Yes.
Titan. When I was like there was one uh exotic that gave extra damage to jump in melee.
Yeah. Which now is super meta, by the way.
It's not a super meta, and I found that I was enjoying that,
Yeah.
but there wasn't enough to it, like
Yeah. There was like.
that was fun, but it's like almost like that was almost a thing,
All right. Yeah, I
but
get
it failed.
you.
I was just thinking like I was just thinking about Borderlands and why I like the thing is just I found something that I like, even if it's not meta, even if it's small,
But it took you
even if
far.
no one
Yeah, I
else
get it.
cares.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I get it. And that's what you
And
latch on. Yeah.
flag pets to the rescue.
All right, so that's the Vault Hunters and what we like and don't like it. And
Yeah.
now guns and loot, man. So much. This
Yeah.
game is the grandfather of the looter shooters.
It is.
It is the game who gives birth to a generation of kind of cool games and disasters at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the game which said you can have a cool FPS action game with RPG elements which makes it enjoyable and have
Yeah.
like what Borderlands Revolutionary was. In every FPS you always have fixed stats on your weapons that you use,
Yeah.
right? Borderlands said no, we're gonna make it crazy, and they went like all the way.
Not only that, but they also brought the skill tree from the classical RPG
to the shooter
to the
genre,
shooter
absolutely.
genre, and like that with all the randomness in the weapons,
And they
it
make
just
it.
really made it feel like
They
an
made it. They made
RPG
it
game.
work. They made it work. And the variation on the guns was one of the biggest innovations. The fact that all the
Yeah.
guns feel super different to shoot. They do a lot of different stuff. They and they work with certain classes that you pick. And like this is more not. I think they've been polishing the formula, right? They brought this
Yeah.
idea, which we're gonna give you a bunch of loot, a bunch of cool weapons, and you're gonna choose what to do with it with these RPG components in a first-person pace game, right?
Yeah,
That was the
like
revolution.
really fast pace. Yep.
Yeah, the mashing of those two genres and make it actually an enjoyable product, right? That was the revolution of Borderlands 1 and 2, right? And now in this genre, they took all the lessons that they learned and they integrated. So one of the strongest things is like every weapon in this game is super different to shoot. They do weird stuff, right? But not only that, but they help you on what your character is doing. For example, for Mouse has a bunch of things about explosions, and there's this specific like type of gun, which are the torque gun, which are all about explosions, right?
Yeah.
And you explode everything and all but not only that, but those guns are fun to play even if you're not in a Mouse, because you can take advantage of the explosion of the guns, but the element in, for example, if you're playing Amara, or like the cryo element if you're playing Sane, and all the guns are different, and then you have like the very high damage, which are the Jacobs, which feel like very girthy and very like punchy kind of weapons, and then you have the weird Theodore weapons, which like when you throw them, they do stuff.
I like. Oh, sorry. I hit the table by accident.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I really like the other ones. Yeah, no, it just they feel different. What you're saying is right. Yeah.
Yeah. And they feel like super crazy and super mechanically different. And then you have the Vlad of guns, which are like the specialization automatic guns, which is the only gun that have the only class that have a sniper, which is an automatic sniper, which is the weirdest thing ever. All the other snipers are normal. You snipe down people and do. No, the Vladov had actually an automatic sniper. Everything is automatic. Then you have the new class of weapons, which are the majority of these weapons existed in the past game.
Yeah.
But now the new class is Children of the Vault class, which are these very curious mechanic about the gun overheating.
Yeah, they don't have ammunition. They
They
overheat
don't
and
have
break.
clips. They overheat and that's it. Which is
Yeah.
like, which is very cool because it ties to the lore of of the makers of the gun, which they just want like shoot a bunch of bullets without any repercussion till the actual
And
arm cuts on fire. So
not only that, but like a lot of the COB weapons have really high fire rate and stuff like that.
yeah, so they are all or nothing kind of weapons.
Yeah.
And then they synergies. They do stuff, and that's a cool thing. They do stuff with your character. They synergize with certain abilities that they can do, and that is the great mashup. And on top of that, they polish like in this game. They polish a lot of the FPS mechanics because in past Borderlands, the most fun that you could get from the Borderlands, it was the craziest thing that the guns could do. But shooting the guns and moving in a FPS matter, you always feel like kind of like medium, right?
Yeah.
Not that fluid. It wasn't that fast paced. It was just medium because the interesting part of the game was the story and the war and the guns that you can get, the actual loot that you can get inside the world, the crazy things that the guns could do, right? In
Yeah,
this
that's
game,
true. They improve on the feeling of the moment to moment shooting.
yeah, absolutely. It feels so much fluid. Using your abilities feels so much fluid, and you get more enjoyment for shooting the guns and for doing the stuff with the items that you get to the point when we
Yeah.
were playing yesterday and Lucho was struggling to leave one type of grenade behind because he loved it so much, and that
It's
happened
fine.
to me before with Central Weapons. I'm like, I love this weapon. I don't want to change, even if it's not
It's
killing
fine.
anything anymore. But I love to shoot it.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes of what they did for the looter shooter genre when you get attached to those items, because right now, and this happened a lot. The items that you tend to get attached into the games are generally legendary items, these super fancy items,
Yeah.
right? But they don't get that feeling throughout the process because throughout the leveling process in Borderlands, every single weapon that we pick up and tried out, it was super interesting and cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Even if you ended up not liking it,
Yeah.
it was worth trying them all out and finding your own thing.
Yeah, what was the gimmick? What was the thing? If you like to throw
Yeah.
weapons and make them shoot or like weird stuff, or if you want a semi-out, if you want a submachine shotgun, for example, which is one of
Yeah.
the weapons that I love, which is absurd. Or if you want like an automatic sniper, which is another weapon that I've been loving recently when I'm in my Predator with flag, right? So it speaks volume that you end up loving weapons even if they are not the fanciest thing,
Yep.
right? Like
Yeah, that just means that the mechanic of the weapon is strong enough.
yeah, it's strong. Like the building of the weapon is strong enough. And this is something that a lot of games, looter shooter games, have lost, right?
Like
To
Destiny
make
2.
like Destiny 2, like Division a certain degree.
Yeah, the Division has that problem as well. It's
Yeah.
but like I wouldn't be so harsh on the Division because they try to keep it real as a good Tom Clancy game.
And they did no, yeah. The thing is, like, they're working with these constraints, and they made it with the legendary guns, right?
Yeah,
They break the mold in there, right? But they are actually working with a lot of constraints. The problem of Destiny is they're not working with that many constraints.
They have no constraints. They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want, and the guns kind of like feel too much gunny.
Pew, pew.
There is some exotics which they break the mold with the exotics, but again,
It's not enough.
That is not enough because that is the baseline. You should super break the mold with the exotic, but the rest of your guns should be like weird and different enough, right?
Yeah. That's some play. Like, that is a place where at least Borderlands 3 gets it like really good.
Yeah.
Is that all the normal weapons, like even the purple ones, like they feel interesting.
Yeah.
It's just that the legendary, the yellow ones are
insane.
Okay. This is different. I get it.
This is a legendary. I get it. Now I know why.
Some of them are less interesting than others. Some of them are not as good as others, but they're just that like step off the purple ones, which are already like really good. So
Yeah, that's on point. That's on point. Like if your baseline is really good, then you get it, right? Like for a
yeah,
long time when I was doing like this most build, when I was running my most thing, I run with a blue grenade for like till I found this legendary grenade that I use now. I run with a blue grenade. It was super effective. It was super good, even at that level. And I run it through like very difficult content till I found the other grenade that I'm using now, right? And
yeah,
that's super endearing. Like, and for a long time, a blue grenade was a boss killer, right?
yep,
You remember the porcelain thing? That's a blue grenade.
yep,
That's a
yeah, yeah,
rare grenade, not even an epic. In the
yeah.
way it
It's true.
works, and it's still a very solid grenade, and we're talking about a rare quality item, right? Not even an epic quality item, not even a legendary item. We're talking about a rare item, which is so good that it can be meta, and that I found like a success in terms of like loot design and item design and what you
Yeah,
can do with it.
yeah, that you can have lower rarity items that are really useful and fun to play with.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. A lot of new games are kind of lost, and just like I think Borderlands 3 is a very good reminder of what can you actually do in the genre and be fun, like baseline fun. Right now,
Yeah,
this genre is kind of fighting against itself because they have to balance PvE and PvP, which is an advantage that Borderlands has. They don't have proper PvP, right?
yeah,
But
that's good and fine with me.
and then I was arguing this thing in Destiny, which like and the same for Division. Like, yes, you can give PvP to the people, right? You can give it to the people, right? But you don't have to have you shouldn't be constrained to make your game less because of you want to balance PvP, right?
I agree.
My argument is the next. Just if PvP is irrelevant in the four and I'm talking about the four, like there is no true like tournaments and like prize money and competence about the PvP, right?
Yep.
Then it doesn't matter. Make it as crazy as you want, right? And for Division, I think Division had tournaments for
Maybe
PvP.
I'm not that aware of the
I
of
think they
any
have a
competitive
couple.
scene.
I think they have a couple tournaments of PvP.
Could be.
Yeah, which okay, and they're the most, and then the ones that have more opportunities in that because their setting is so real that they can like be very tight with those rules inside of a competitive environment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be very tight with those rules, and they get like they have like knots to like screw all, and nobody's gonna bat an eye because it's a real kind of environment in which you're basing your game. But on the other side, and I was thinking about this in Destiny, people like fight a lot in Destiny PvP, and there are like controversies and what is meta and what is not meta. But at the end of the day, PvP doesn't really matter in Destiny. There's no prizes, there's no competition. There is a ladder which
Yeah.
resets. So what?
Yeah. For me, games live in an spectrum of like a pure PvP experience
Yeah,
and a pure PvE experience,
yeah,
and
okay,
like the pure PvP experience is Call of Duty. Like it's completely balanced, like a balanced field for everyone.
yeah,
It's just pure skill of the player. Like all the guns are the same. They shoot the same things at the same whatever, the
yeah,
same numbers.
yeah,
It's just how good are you at clicking heads.
yeah.
And on the other side is just, let's say, Borderlands 3, which is just eh,
Yeah.
make
Share
it
the
explode.
stuff, explosions
Who
everywhere.
gives?
Whee!
Who cares? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
and like everything in between, it's really hard to balance. And I feel like Destiny 2 at least is trying to stand in the middle.
Yeah, but they shouldn't.
But
I insist they
but they
shouldn't.
should. You have to make a more defined decision in my head for you to succeed.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, like everything in life, you cannot have everything at the same time.
Yeah.
It's it's what it is.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's what it is. And this is my argument about Destiny 2. Like they shouldn't have to. And there's always controversy about the PvP in Destiny 2. So oh no, this is the best. Oh no, this is the thing that is meta and blah blah blah. And then people complaining because PvP is broken because Y and X reason. But you shouldn't care, man. Right? It's just a fun. Like recently they put the most fun that I have on PvP on Destiny, and it's like a rocket launcher only mode.
Yeah.
And it's called Scorch. And it's been like, this is the most fun that I had in PvP in Destiny. And it should be like that all the time. It should not matter.
Do you remember that there was one week where they opened I think it was called Mayhem, where everything charges super fast?
Yeah, the Mayhem mode. Yeah. The super fast mode.
We had a ton of fun in that game.
Yeah, exactly, that mode. And and that's my feeling. Like everything should be like that because you don't have a proper tournament scene. It doesn't matter. It should not matter. Just put silly, like if you're gonna have PvP in a fantasy, like what this allows is if you make PvP in this like ridiculous scenario, you find PvP fun because it's just only for fun, right? And then you can take the rest of your game to the extreme because it's only PvE, right?
Yeah.
They should have leaned to that side, in my opinion, because I had so much fun with it. Like the rest is like, why would you have a competitive mode? What is the point, right? What is the point? If you want to find competitive PvPs, actual competitive PvPs, and you want to sweat, go to CSGO, go to Overwatch. Games that are actually built for that. Right?
You know what? Yeah, I agree with you. You know what's super funny? Have you ever seen WoW competitive PvP?
WoW competitive PvP. It's just a time race, isn't it? There is a PvP competition in WoW?
Yeah,
I've seen races.
Yeah,
races.
no, that's
I've seen races.
Yeah, that's PvE competition. That's fine. Just races to get first or whatever. But no, there is an actual PvP mode in WoW that is competitive.
Wow. Okay, and how did they manage it?
It's crazy in balance, and the only way to get good is to have like this super meta builds, and you have to farm a lot of things and like really the things that work are like really specific. It's basically what people call unbalanced.
Yeah.
Because there are just only a couple of characters with a couple of builds that work. And a lot of the matches are mirror matches between the teams.
Yeah.
So it's a thing. Like
and that's a way to have like both, right? Which you don't care that is so balanced. The thing is like the problem with Destiny is that,
and it is still exactly what you're saying. It's not that World of Warcraft is like World of Warcraft is mainly a PvE game.
Yeah.
It just has this weird PvP competitive side of it.
Yeah.
That people do know that it exists, that there are competitions and money involved, but like everyone knows, it's kind of broken and and on every BlizzCon they have like a tournament. You should, if you can, take a look to see how it is. It's kind of insane. It exists, but it's just an example of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like World of Warcraft completely PvE. They can still have it on the side, and it's gonna have a lot of problems. And
wait, but to my point, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if you're PvP.
It doesn't matter. Yeah,
it shouldn't matter if you don't have a serious competitive thing behind your game. It shouldn't matter if your PvP is broken or not. That's my point.
And also, if it is like if it is broken, just kind of let it be.
Like I'll be so comfortable when you have like when the majority of experience in Crucible, in Destiny. Like for me, the ideal of Destiny will be the next, right? It will be all the first-hand experience of Crucible that you have to go for bounties and that sort of stuff. The thing that the game kind of forces you to do in a PvP sense should be all these tiny things: rockets, no cooldowns, right? Yeah. And then you have a small playlist which people who want to sweat.
Agree.
Like in like a couple of modes with people who wants to sweat and kill everybody, and they should have like gear checks or being more restricted the way you go there, right? Maybe, and that's it. And that will fix it. Like nobody will complain because PvP is just a funny, zany thing that you go to actually play the game and do some bounties, and that's it. You have a ton of fun killing all the dudes with like infinite rockets or infinite bullets or like no cooldowns or like crazy stuff like that. Because it's a training exercise, right? And then if you want to go deep, then you farm your stuff, you do your proper loadout, and then you go to the deep end of the super sweaties when your loadout is close and you have to have these meta things. Yeah, right? I don't want, like, I hate when I go to PvP in Destiny 2 and my experience is always terrible because I don't have the... And it's a front face, right? When I click just I want to play PvP for the bounties, and I take crappy weapons to try to do something. I hate when they're like a bunch of sweaty dudes playing with super meta, killing everything super fast, right? And you have zero fun in that context, right?
Yeah, now you got it.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 is not fun.
In that context.
It's the same thing. It's when the bounty is forcing you to use a weapon, like let's say you need to get precision kills.
Yes.
And the meta game, it's for example shotguns. Oh, fuck my life! Like
yeah, in PvP, absolutely. In PvE, I don't mind. In PvE, it's like
but it's just that. I'm just saying that same concept extends, in my experience, for all the game.
Yeah.
You only feel it in PvE. I feel it in PvP. I feel it throughout the whole game.
All right, fair
That's
enough.
all.
Anyways, so
but just getting back to Borderlands.
Yes.
I was just gonna say that it will be interesting just to see a PvP arena, like just
You'll be hilarious.
Just throw it all there and see what happens.
See what happens. And they could do they actually have a versus system, right? Yeah. You can we play with knives. We stab each other.
Yeah, we have knife competitions, knife fights.
Knife fights. So they actually have a system inside the game where you can fight against the other person, but it's so irrelevant that why.
It is. but it would be fine if they open like a PvP arena, just throw everything there and
make teams and let's see what happens. That would be super fun. But that's
without balance.
Yeah, nothing of that. Without being slaves of that.
Gear, normalization, nothing. Just
So to our point, Borderlands 3 loot so good. They gives you a lot to the point that you get to a point where you are not picking any loot, but it doesn't matter.
which is the Diablo. I was gonna mention this. Is the Diablo
approach? Yeah.
Kind of approach, and I really like that feeling of. That. No, that also gives like a progression feeling. Yeah. Like when you start the game, you take it all. Like you look at all the loot, no matter the rarity, and you get super excited when you start getting more rare loot.
Yeah.
And as you progress, you say, okay, no, I'm not gonna pick whites.
Yeah.
And at some point, no, I'm not gonna care about greens.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna pick blues. Then I'm not gonna pick purples.
Yeah.
Then I only care about anoideds.
Yeah. Now, I'm to the point that I'm not gonna pick everything. But I'm actually reading it. It's like, oh yeah, this is interesting for X. I may be picking it up or not. Right.
But that gives a really healthy sense of progression. Like you're moving, you're getting better. You know what I mean? I'm improving somehow.
And I love that visual, that visual feedback in this kind of looter shooters, when they actually show you the loot, because it makes you feel that you did a lot of rolls to see what you get, and you're getting rewarded all the time, even if it's not in something that you can use, but it's in quantity. I prefer the games that are on the side of giving you a lot of loot.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you have to filter out what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer that even if people complain sometimes that it becomes it's
inventory management. Yeah, sure.
Blah, blah. But I prefer the games to err in that sense than in the other. Definitely.
I agree.
So
I completely agree.
And for our last point of a deep dive, difficulty, mayhem mode, and trouble hunter mode.
Yeah.
And the challenges of this is something that we are gonna still touch in our future podcast about endgame, etc., etc. But how do you feel the difficulty progress?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to the torment system in Diablo, that you can just dilate dial it up as much as you can
Yeah.
within reason. Like there are not 16 levels of
Yeah,
16
to the
levels of
point
difficulty
Diablo
like
is
in
like
Diablo,
ridiculous.
but that's, I find the challenge really nice, that you actually get to see the difference of, oh yeah, from Mayhem 1 to Mayhem 2, you see more, I don't know, shielded enemies. I
Yeah,
don't
more
remember the differences
badasses,
or
more
stuff. More
annoyeds, or
badasses, and
yeah,
then you in Mayhem 2 you start seeing more annoyed enemies,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
in Mayhem 3 just a bunch of badasses and annoyeds, and it's crazy.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But
yeah.
that's really, like, that's also a system that helps you feel like you're doing progress, it's
Absolutely, yeah,
not like that's, it doesn't feel static, like, even if it is not. And that's also another thing that, again, not to keep baiting Destiny, but Destiny feels kind of samey all the time,
yeah,
because you don't feel like the enemies change.
yeah. But they kind of doing something in this expansion finally about the
I know,
difficulty curves and all this stuff.
I know,
It's a
but
work in progress. Yeah,
most of the thing, you're fighting the same blue aliens with the little shield around them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair enough.
But just this little thing, like putting these difficulty modes, like, yeah, you could argue they split up your player base somehow,
Yeah,
but it's really nice to see that, oh yeah, no, now I'm really fighting the tough ones. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. You're really in the challenge modes, and you
And
feel
that,
it, and you feel it, like you feel it, like, oh, it takes forever to die, or like it's difficult, it hits me like a truck, or
but
like,
that
yeah,
that really helps that experience and that satisfaction of when you're able to overcome the difficulties. Like, yeah,
yeah, I did
my build did
it.
it. Yes, I
Yes.
can kill it. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
feeling. That's the feeling that we are pursuing in this game.
yeah.
Just that's. I really like it. I wish in the future they add more.
More difficult levels and more stuff on it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, we have to wait because apparently they're gonna do a raid bosses kind of like activity.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they come up with. I'm just saying that I really like this, like the ability for the player to dial up or dial down the difficulty.
Yeah, just the difficulties. Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I think that's always a good thing to leave on the player hand,
Yep.
because
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of, go do the stuff
However you want.
however you want.
Yeah.
You wanna. It's like in Diablo 2, like
Yeah.
Diablo 3. Sorry, that you pick Torment 6 and Torment 16, and you have to be aware all the facts on the floor and all the things going on,
Yeah.
and it's overwhelming the first time.
Yeah.
And whenever you dial it back, it's like, oh, this is super easy.
Yeah, we have a run and oh, everything explodes.
But that's cool. Like, it's just, if you don't wanna like get involved in the craziness of Torment 16,
Yep,
pushing greater reefs,
it's fine.
it's fine. I mean, you enjoy the game however you want.
However you want, yeah. So yeah,
I like that. I like
think
that so much.
overall, yeah, they did a really good improvement, because in the past it was just like normal mode and then true world hunter mode and then extreme mode, and it was kind of like the same concept of these modifiers going up and down. But in this one, the fact that it gives you the mayhem modes is really useful, because you can use it in normal and or in true world hunter mode with mayhem mode, which gives you the modifiers, and it's very cool. It gives you a cool challenge, and I found it really enjoyable, really
Yeah.
enjoyable.
Also, it's really fun to, like, these random modifiers that you get at the beginning of each map.
Yeah,
Like, you feel them. That's pretty cool.
yeah,
Like you feel that some of your weapons are maybe not doing as much damage.
yes,
And
absolutely, and that makes
it
you change
actually,
stuff. Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, this
Of
changed.
course, there is some builds that just break this in half, but
Of course.
but that's bound to happen in any of the systems, like at some point.
Yeah, of course it's gonna happen.
Yeah. But it's fine.
That's what playing meta gets boring.
Yes.
And you should never play meta. You should play
Whatever you want makes you happy.
whether it's yeah. There is this. There's this saying in the like collecting games and like Asian gacha games.
Yeah.
How is it called? Waifu or meta.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is like just pick whatever you like. And there's a meta, sure. No one cares. Like, that's the spirit. Just
yeah, that's the spirit. That's the spirit that you see. All right, and that's a deep dive on Borderlands. Next time we will talk about more about the lore and the aesthetics of the game and
yeah.
more in deep of that and like how they work and how it doesn't work, what if the design is interesting or not. But now we go to audience feedback and questions.
Yes.
Remember that you can send us your feedback and questions in any way, shape, or form. We will take it. We'll check all the comments everywhere. We check like the YouTube comments and the podcast comments and the mail and the Twitters and everything.
Your Twitch stream.
Twitch stream too. I will take feedback on my Twitch stream too. You can hang in right there and tell me like, oh, I hate your podcast, I hate your face, and then go. I will take that.
Yep.
But anyways, our first questions for feedback. Where do you think Destiny 2 is going in the future? This is talking about the last episode that we did about Shadowkeep.
No.
With this new free-to-play approach to the game.
To the dumpster fire. I don't know.
To the dumpster fire.
I think we have talked about this, that I feel like they haven't, that they're trying to slowly transition into a free-to-play mode.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, they should make a harsher transition.
Yeah.
That's all, like...
You just want everything. Just everything.
I don't want... I want them to make a decision, and I said this before, I think in the podcast, I don't remember, that just go all in. Like, just...
Don't be awake.
Take everything with the good and the bad. It's just that.
I think there's I agree with you. I think they have good intentions. I think they're doing good stuff in terms of the systems and everything, but I think they should do harsher transitions. This comes with the risk of alienating your current player base, but I think they need to like just jank everything off the floor and throw everything through the window and well, not everything, but do like a harsher transitions.
Yeah, just sometimes in life you have to take your chances.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes you...
Oh my God. Oh, he disconnected, I think. Oh, give it a second.
Ooh.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
You went away for a second. That was weird.
I did.
Well,
yeah,
it wasn't that bad. Continue.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, it was just that they need to take real decisions. That's what I'm thinking.
I think that's something. And then our next and last question of the feedback is, why does Lucho hate Destiny 2 so much? From like one of the new friends that we did this week, Alejandro, in the Destiny community, asked this question.
I mean, basically, we were playing together last week. I was trying to level up and finish the campaign and the stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't... It's not that I hate it. Maybe I do. I don't know. It's just...
yeah.
It's just annoying because it's a game that I will never play on my own.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's
but
weird
all these
because
people play it, and sure, they can enjoy it, but I don't get... It's not that they cannot enjoy it. Like, anyone can enjoy whatever they want.
Yes.
It's just that, it's so boring to me. Like, like if I weren't, like, if I had to sit alone and play something on Destiny 2, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I will just quit the game and play something that I enjoy.
All right.
And that for me is just a sign that there is something that is not clicking for me. And I've been thinking about this for a long time. And I brought it up just a couple of minutes ago. Like, there is nothing in the game that
grabs you. That's a problem.
Yeah, just even a little bit, just something. And the little things that I find enjoyable are not large enough in the game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I enjoy a couple of the activities, like the menagerie, the Vex invasion.
Yeah.
I enjoy a couple of the exotics that I know.
Yeah.
And all those things together are such a little part of the game. And there is so much boring bounties too. That the things that I enjoy cannot like overcome.
Yeah.
So I don't latch on the game. It's just and I will always complain because you guys played and I want to play with friends because that's always fun.
But as a very wise YouTuber said once, if the game is better when you play with friends, your friends are the fun part, not the game.
I agree. and I completely agree. Like I like my friends, and that's what I play Destiny to spend time with them, not to play Destiny. Like honestly, if I was playing with you guys and you told me, oh no, you have to go and do this thing alone, I'll say okay, goodbye.
Okay, bye. See you next time. Bye.
Yeah, I'll play something that I find enjoyable because I don't enjoy the game.
I don't know. It's weird. Like I find all this passion through the Destiny community and people who really love the game, and they play a lot of time alone. I do enjoy the grind of the game. I did enjoy but now that I'm done with the grind, I'm in the same point of Lucho, right? I'm not gonna play Destiny unless I'm gonna do fun stuff with the game. I'm finished with the grind. I finished with my goal.
Yeah.
So for me, it's weird because I do like the game. I like the grind of the game. Maybe I like the grind. Maybe I like to level up, but I like to like make a collection of weapons in Destiny for some reason. And like it's very weird, right?
No, I don't think it's weird. Like I said this before. Like I like the light level grinding.
Yeah.
Because it's like super precise objective based. Like
Yeah.
You have this amount of weekly objectives and you have to do these things, and some of them are sadly like super boring to me, but still like I can push through.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. I haven't done it for this expansion. I may do it at some point. But aside from that, there is not like once I reach 950 or something around that.
Yep.
I'll just say, okay, bye.
Yeah, just tell me when you're gonna do something interesting. When I'm gonna go into the gameplay. And that's been my relationship with Destiny at the end. Like I made it to the light level grind. Now I'm happy. I did my goal. And then the rest of times that I play Destiny is like, oh, we're gonna do this activity. Oh, we're gonna go show you this dungeon. Oh, we're gonna go and like do the raid or whatever. But beyond that, there's nothing else that actually like makes me want to go into the game.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the central reason why I keep saying that I don't think Destiny 2 is a good game in my eyes. Like, you have the right to enjoy whatever game you want. Yeah. I'm not gonna judge anyone.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, for me, it's not a good game because I don't want other things on my own on the game.
And I think that's it. With that, it's a complex relationship with Destiny 2 that we have.
No, it's not complex. It's very simple. I think it's a bad game because I'm not motivated to do things on my own.
That's fair.
Will I play it?
Yeah.
Like it's this kind of relationship. Let's say you have a good friend.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know, it's vegan.
Yes, okay, yeah.
And you want to go out to a restaurant that can be challenging in some parts of the world. I will go to a vegan place and I will eat vegan food. It's fine. Will I do it on my own?
No.
It's the same relationship that I have.
What a good thing to do. I think that's perfect. I think that is perfect.
I like my friends, but I won't do alone the same thing that I do with them all the time.
Yeah. I think that's very good. I think we leave it there for today.
Yeah.
Love your friends.
I do.
I think that's the message we want to impart you.
Yeah. So that's all for this week's episode. Once again, thanks for tuning in the Sweaty of Farming and the Game Design. My name is Lucho, and you can find me on Twitter at Luis G. Polanco.
And I am the Long Name Gamer, and you can find me on Twitter at the Long Name Gamer, and on Twitch on // twitch.tv/LearningGamerTV, where I stream Mondays through Friday many of the games that we talk here on the stream. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, send us a kiss, send us your love. Do Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design. Love your friends. Love everybody. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. And did you know certain cacti produce substance called mescaline, which induces hallucinating effects, has been used by the shamans to induce trance-like states and ensure communication, air quotes, with God.
And the structure of cacti enables them to survive in hot, dry climates. Must have thick, fleshy stems with a waxy skin. The stem acts as a reservoir to store water, and the top skin keeps the water from evaporating.
Good. So you have like water. So I always had this question when I wonder like if water inside the cactus give you height, so it's the best type of water.
I maybe. I mean, I have heard that if you're stranded in a desert,
Yeah.
you can drink water like by slicing some
Yeah, the cacti.
of cacti.
Yeah.
Probably not all of them, because some of them maybe, I don't know, they may give you diarrhea or something.
Can you imagine like getting lost in the desert and then you get cacti water and then you get super high and get an epiphany or something like that?
I mean, if you are lost in the desert, you're probably already high you're high like a heat stroke or something.
Something like that. So more highness is not gonna be a difference. That's your point.
Yeah, that's
High and that's it.